In this example, you will record a single instrument. The exercise describes recording an electric guitar plugged in directly to an instrument input on your audio interface, but feel free to record your voice or any instrument you have. To record audio, you first have to create an audio track. Select the correct input, the input number on your audio interface where the guitar is plugged into, and enable that track for recording. When adding tracks, the new tracks are inserted below the selected track. To create a new track at the bottom of the tracks area, you first need to select the bottom track. In this example, I have one track already, but if I just delete that track, I set up an audio track. My guitar input is input 2. I keep the output the same, and I go to create. By the way, you can also set up tracks here. Click that and it'll set up a new track, and the function next to it sets up a copy of the selected track. So you can see audio 1, input 2, and now my copy is audio 2, but it also has the same input and output. If I was to put a plugin on there as well, and I go to copy, that information will be copied as well. Yep, so it creates an identical copy of the track you've selected. Also, if I have more than one input, I can change the number of tracks I created, but for this example I'm just using one track. I'm going to delete audio 2, so I've got audio 1, and now I can double click in the track header to name it. Of course, this is important because the audio file to be recorded will be named after the name in the track header. And if I control click on the track header, I can also put a guitar icon on the track header from the shortcut menu. To avoid feedback when recording with a microphone, monitor your recording using headphones and make sure your speakers are turned down. You will now set up Logic so that record enabling a track allows you to hear the source you're recording. So choose Logic Pro X, Preferences, and Audio. Click the General track and make sure the input monitor only for focus tracks and record enabled tracks is deselected. Close the window, Command W. And in the guitar track header, click R for record enabled. You can now hear your guitar and see its input level on the guitar channel strip meter in the inspector. At this point, you may hear a small delay between the time you play a note and when you hear it. This delay is called latency. You will learn how to reduce latency at the end of this lesson. Because your new audio track is record enabled, with the R button on the track header red and blinking, the next recording will create an audio region on that track. You can monitor the audio routed to record enabled tracks while Logic is stopped, playing or recording. When a guitar or bass is plugged directly into an audio interface's instrument preamp, the sound is clean and raw. To emulate the character a guitar amp can give to the guitar sound, you can use Amp Designer, a guitar amplifier modeling plugin. Note that you are still recording a dry guitar sound. The Effect plugin processes the dry audio signal in real time during the recording and playback. Recording a dry signal means that you can continue fine-tuning the Effect plugin or exchange them for other plugins after the recording is complete. So in the inspector, press I if your inspector isn't already open, or click the I here. On the guitar channel strip, click the audio effects insert and choose Amp and Pedals and Amp Designer. Amp Designer opens, and here you can dial in a sound or choose a preset. So in the Amp Designer window, click the Settings pop-up menu and choose a preset that inspires you. I think I will go for full fat. You can now hear your guitar processed through Amp Designer. Feel free to spend a few minutes exploring various settings and tweaking the amp's knobs until you're happy with the sound. Once you're done, press Command W to close the Amp Designer window. Before recording, make sure you can monitor the sound through Logic and then adjust the source audio level to avoid overloading the converters. On the channel strip, look at the peak level meter and make sure it always stays below 0 dBFS, decibels full scale. A level above 0 dBFS would indicate that you are clipping the input of your converter. Keep in mind that you need to adjust the audio level before the converter input by using your microphone preamp gain knob. Allow some headroom, especially if you know that the artist might play or sing louder during the actual recording. Working with a lower level recording is better than clipping the input. Let's adjust the recording and monitoring levels, tune the guitar and find a cool guitar sound. So I'm going to play the loudest part. So if the peak level meter turns yellow or red, lower the gain on the preamp and check the peak level meter for new levels. Make sure the peak sits comfortably below 0 dBFS. The wider the dynamic range of the source, the more headroom it needs to avoid clipping. Click the peak level meter to reset it. Making sure an instrument is in tune before recording is always a good idea. The control bar's tuner button gives you quick access to the tuner plugin. So in the control bar, click the tuner button. The tuner is available in the control bar only when an audio track is selected and an input is selected to the input slot of the corresponding channel strip. You can also insert the tuner plugin on the channel strip. Click the audio effects slot and choose metering and tuner. One by one, tune the guitar strings. I do this by turning the treble down slightly, and I play the note on the 12th fret. And by turning the treble down, it stops the tuner from dancing around too much. I'm tuned to D flat. So I'm playing each string on the 12th fret, exactly halfway. Bring some treble back in. Take some treble out again. Stop it from jumping around, you see. And now that the guitar is tuned, you can practice the performance and make sure that you can hear yourself and the other instruments comfortably. First, you'll turn off auto input monitoring, so during playback you can hear the guitar you connected. So ensure that record auto input monitor is deselected. Press spacebar to start playback. Press the spacebar to start playback and play along with the song. As you can see, I've just imported a drum loop, which I'm going to play along to. Of course, if the guitar is now too loud or too soft in comparison to the other tracks in the inspector, drag the volume fader on the guitar channel strip to adjust the monitoring level, or drag the volume slider in the guitar track header. The track header's volume slider and the channel strip's volume fader adjust the monitoring and playback levels. They do not alter the recording level. You have set the desired sample rate, adjusted the recording and monitoring levels, inserted a plugin to emulate the sound of a guitar amp, and tuned the instrument. You're now ready to record. I've pressed enter to take the playhead back to the beginning of the track. I've made sure I've selected the track, and now in the control bar I can press the record button, or I can press R on the keyboard for record. The playhead and the LCD display in the control bar both turn red to indicate that Logic is recording. The playhead jumps one bar earlier and gives you a 4-beat count-in with an audible metronome click before the recording starts. A new red region is created behind the playhead on the record-enabled tracks, and you can see the recording waveform draw in as you play or sing. After you've recorded a few bars, in the control bar click the stop button or press the space bar. The new recording, your guitar, appears as a blue shaded audio region. After you've recorded a few bars, in the control bar click the stop button or press the space bar. The new recording appears as a blue shaded audio region. Note that this new region is selected, which makes listening to it easy using the play from selection key command, which is Shift, hold down Shift and press the space bar. The playhead jumps to the beginning of the selected region and playback starts. Of course, if you're not happy with your new recording, you can select it and delete it and start over. So we have two choices here. If I choose delete, the audio region is removed from the tracks area and the audio file is removed from the project. In the Finder, the audio file is moved from inside the project to the trash. If I keep, the audio region is removed from the tracks area, but the audio file stays in the project audio browser and is still present inside the project package, allowing you to later drag it back to the workspace if necessary. So if I go OK, and now I go to my audio files, I can see that they're still there. I'm just going to undo that. This time I'm going to select and go delete, and you'll see it disappear.